Alright everyone, you might remember that a few days ago I made a video in which I remarked that the Congolese Basin and China are the two main repositories of disease in the world. For instance, the Plague of Athens may have come from China. The Black Plague originated in China. The so-called Spanish flu originated with Chinese migrants actually in the United States, and so on forth. Ebola, Congolese Basin. Marburg virus, main repository, Congolese Basin. These two locations on Earth uniquely seem to spawn disease. It's a biological fact. I mean, we can look back through several thousand years of history and find the same pattern emerging over and over and over again. Hell, the plague there in Vienna probably it might have originated in China or the Congolese Basin. We're not sure. There is a novel hemorrhagic virus that may have emerged now in the Congolese Basin. It's probably not geoengineered, but it's novel. It appears that some villagers ate bats. Bats seem to be the bane of mankind. I wonder why they're figured heavily in various horror novels. And they got sick, and now it's spreading from person to person, and a number of people have died, and a number of other people have been infected. They've ruled out Marburg, Marlboro disease. They've ruled out Ebola, so they tested negative for those two. So they're not exactly sure what hemorrhagic virus we're dealing with, but we're sure that it's a hemorrhagic virus based on the symptoms. And it appears to be novel. Now, the hope is, of course, that it burns itself out. Maybe a village dies and it stays like that. But that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes it breaks containment and then it enters a larger population. Let's say, for example, somebody eats a bat in the Congo and then they go back to their home in Los Angeles. Or some medical worker working there gets infected, but then they go back to New York or they go back to London. And all of a sudden you've got a huge host repository with no immunity, no resistance to that particular disease. Travel has become, again, like bats apparently, the bane of our existence. Because things move so rapidly that before the symptoms show up, they've already hit a large cosmopolitan area, and then people start getting infected. So there may be a novel hemorrhagic virus. Now, there's a flip side to this. The other side of it is that the legacy media, the Uniparty, etc., they're rooting for a major virus to wipe out 90% of mankind. They would find this hilarious. They have their bunkers and shit like that. And they'll play it up anyway because it allows them to exert more authoritarianism. Isn't it very, very interesting? You have a major political flipping in most of the Western world with populism and nationalism breaking out. And all of a sudden you have all of these novel viruses and they're getting talked up a great deal. I fucking wonder why. I mean, if this had happened under the Biden administration, nobody would have even reported on it. You probably wouldn't even know that it was a thing. This has happened before. You'll notice this with the virus that shall not be named on YouTube videos, for example. Under one administration, everything's nominal. Everything's fine. You know, you're a conspiracy theorist. Look the other way. Prior to that, the world is ending. It's very, very different now, isn't it? Very different. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the case with this particular virus too. But they're not sure exactly what it is. It's probably an Ebola virus family contagion of some sort or another. But we're not 100% sure. So far, their tests haven't concluded exactly what the hell is going on. And something like 50 people have already died of it, and hundreds more have been sickened. That's a pretty terrible death rate, actually. Although, you're in the Congolese Basin. So, you're not going to be able to account for everyone who's sick. So I'm not exactly sure 100% what the death rate is. Thankfully, this sort of virus tends to peter itself out. Sadly, burial practices and funerary practices within Western Africa, Congolese Basin, up into the Ivory Coast, Liberia, etc., tend to be very hands-on. And so if somebody has died of hemorrhagic fever, people are still touching the corpse, unprotected. It's rather traditionalistic. Well, if that happens, there's going to be a problem because some people will probably be infected. So this could burn its way through all of West Africa, for all we know. We're not even sure what the hell it is. And I'm sure that they're scrambling to try to find it out. Maybe Chang, the janitor, decided, hey, I'm going to take a bank holiday and go to Africa. And I've got these bats. They're good, right? Maybe I'll just hand them out to people. Hey, fuck me, and I'll feed you roasted bat meat or something like that. Stranger things have happened in the world of politics and the world of medicine, by the way. That's about all. Peace out.